Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. Appreciate the kind words that you said about listening to the some of the episodes in the past. But I think especially this time of year, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're reading books, we're listening to podcasts, we're watching videos, trying to pick up some things. What's some of the best things that you borrowed lately?
Man, it was a little while ago, but I started reading a book called Entitled to Nothing by Bob Walsh. He took over a D3 program up east, and it just kind of was, somebody said to read it because it's a guy that went and had success somewhere, but it was able to sustain that success at a small college. So it's kind of seemed like it would relate to what I'm doing. As we had some success this past season, I want to continue it. But he said in there when he's talking about leadership, and in my program, we're huge on leadership. It's one of our core values. It's our number one core value. I think everything else flows from if I am truly leading myself the way I should lead myself, then everything else should follow. But he says, if I say it, you doubt it. If you say it, it's true. So you talked about me asking questions, and I do that a lot because I want the kid to respond. Hey, you said it, not me. Like, I'm just holding you to what you said. And I believe if you can get quality ownership in your program, you're set, because I mean, we all know coach-led teams can be good, but the great teams are player-led. They know what they want. They know how to do it. They go it. And, an adage that I've been using lately for the last year and a half or so is, I always ask my kids about twice a week, whose responsibility is it to have a great practice, a great film session, a great workout in the weight room? Whose responsibility? Is it mine? And they're like, no, coach, it's everyone's. We got you. We're going to have a good one today. All right. It's like, and they know that they are in control of their success, that it's not dependent on me, that they could go and be successful without me. And for me, that's very rewarding. And, he goes on and talks about different ways to give your players more control, which is hard as coaches. Yeah. Like, hey, here's the control. And the way I've come to do it is I pick 2 or 3 leaders at the beginning of the year, and I say, hey, probably 80% of the practice, they lead the first 20 minutes of practice. I tell them the drills. I tell them the teaching points. This is what we're doing. And most of it's fundamentals. It's skill-oriented. It's not hard for them to do. They've been around me long enough.
You're not asking them to put in something brand new.
No, I'm not. It's not a team concept or something, philosophy-wise, but it's something that they can get out of their shell a little bit, but they can take ownership of. And I love it because I had one kid that's trying to coach up some ball handling drills, and, one kid's not going hard. And he's like super offended that this kid's not going hard in his drill that he's supposed to be leading. And I'm like, you now know what it feels like a little bit to be a coach.
Sure.
And so it's just, they get to have ownership of it. They get to lead. They get to learn how to lead. They get to learn how to not lead. And they get to have some fun with it. But they also get to feel that, like, this is my team. It's not his team. This is my team. This is our team. And I think that's super important. So I really took that from Bob. I'll say it again. If I say it, you doubt it. But if you say it's true. And so that philosophy of getting my players to feel like they're doing it, they're saying it, it's theirs, not mine, has been really impactful this last season.
Man, love the title of that book. Like, Entitled to Nothing. Like, that's what a great title. And
you want me to show, I could probably find it.
Yeah, it's so important too for I don't like when people say today's players, but all players. Because you know what? When I think back to the late 90s, early 2000s, we were entitled to. Like, I don't know.
So,
I just don't think that's like a recent
yes,
thing.
yes. Entitlement is
It's a young person thing.
it's definitely something, but it is not. It's not indicative of one generation.
Yeah,
It's different people. But I found the book. I don't know if you can see it, but
love it.
it was sitting over here on my desk, and yeah,
Yep.
it's been good
I
for
wrote it
sure.
down. I'm putting together a pretty sweet list of books from people that have been on. Like now, how in the world do you get to them all? And it's kind of like how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time. So just starting with one, but
Yes,
I'll definitely add that to the list. And going back to that, the question method a little bit, but having them say it. So like PGC, which if coaches haven't ever attended a session as an observing coach, it's just one of the greatest things that you can do. Like you go and you basically get to watch and go through everything the athletes do over the 5 days. You just don't do any of the skill work, or you don't play. But I mean, the amount of notes and things. But first session, when we're just kind of getting to know each other, we always ask our athletes to write down their three aspirations. Things that they want, the goals they have, could be individually, could be for their team. And then, we raise, hey, who'd like to share? And some people timidly, bring their hand up. Oh, I want a big varsity next year.
yeah,
And I always ask, like, hey, raise your hand if you'd like to win a state championship. And like everybody raised their hand, and then I'll ask how many people have. Like it's really
yeah,
hard to do. And so, but the whole idea is how many coaches are holding players to standards or to aspirations that they actually don't have. Like I used to dangle the college carrot out for guys. That's not going to work at the next level until thankfully at Naaman Forest, a senior said, Coach, I don't want to play at the next level.
yeah,
And he's like, oh, like what? Like, what do you mean? Why are you doing this then? No, but like if we ask them to say what their dreams, goals,
sure,
aspirations are, and then you say, can I hold you to that? Like I love the idea of asking them, getting their permission. Like we're co-creators in this thing. It's
yeah.
not just me taskmaster, and it's not just you doing what you want. Like we're both trying to work together. But I think knowing that is huge.
It is, and for me, it's not necessarily um, specific goals, but
Right.
it's more of standards.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, hey, if you say that your standard is to compete every day in practice, don't give me bad body language and a horrible attitude when I hold you accountable to that. You said it. It's not me that said I wanted to compete every day. Now I want you to compete every day, but let's be clear, you agreed. And so in the fall, we actually had kids. We picked 4 leaders of our team. We said you are picking a standard and telling us exactly what that standard means. And I absolutely love it. My all region kid, he picks, and it is one of our core values. Leadership, family, effort, and toughness. That's what our core values are. But effort, he goes, I want to talk. I want us to play hard, and I want us to do everything as hard as we can. And he said, and I quote, and I love it: if you aren't going all out, are you even trying? Are you even wanting this bad enough? Do you really want to win? You're not trying to win if you aren't going all out. And so when we have kids that, dog it, sometimes I don't even have to say anything. I just look at him and said, you need to give a pep talk or something. These kids are not going all out. And this is what you said we need to do. This is your standard. And I think when kids take ownership of your standards, of your culture, you're going somewhere and you're doing something right. And like we said earlier, player-led teams, they're going to be the
Yeah.
best teams. They are.
And I think good coaches or coach-led teams, a coach can come in with standards, pillars, an acronym, stuff on a T-shirt, stuff like whatever that it's clever and the words are great. And if the kids are like, if they're just obedient, if they're respectful,
Sure.
if they trust, it'll still work. But like
Yeah.
you said, though, there's this whole other idea of and I've heard like Terry Butterfield and these other coaches, Bruce Brown, proactive coaching, talking about like actually allowing players, and you've done it too, like allowing players to choose how they're going to show up every day, what they want the program to be about. And I'm telling you, for 9 years here at Faith, I was guilty of, here is our culture, you're going to love it. And it's this acronym that's so cool to a 39-year-old. And but we have good kids. They never once, like, I don't care if they ever make fun of anything that we do, mimic or mock them, as long as they're saying it. I don't care what it's kind of like faking it, right? Like it doesn't matter as long as they know it. But when we have 4 pillars, that the way that we talk and what we believe, but then allowing them to choose the 5th one every year, that senior class, like that's something that we just started in. And with that underneath passion, they need to come with like 3 little subtitle or categories that lead into that. Like, where are we going to be passionate? What does passion look like? What does it not look like? But you're right on the money, man, with having them. I love the idea of them choosing those standards and then defining them. That's really cool. Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.